the show where we believe you can grow to be a millionaire in all 6 aspects of health. That's right. Every week we share tips to improve your physical, mental, intellectual, social, obviously your financial, and your spiritual health. And that's what we're going to focus on today. How can you improve your spiritual health holistically? If you have never seen Millionaires Are Made, this is the show built on the fundamental beliefs that every person you meet knows something you don't, and there's something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. We are on a mission to teach the world how to grow into the healthiest, happiest millionaires in all aspects of life. So today we have 3 awesome guests to give you 3 awesome tips, nice and easy for you to grow your spiritual health holistically. In the spirit of authenticity and to try to remove as much bias as possible, we don't talk about tips or advice backstage. So when you hear them here live, it's going to be the first time we hear them as well. Audience, this is an interactive show. We love your questions. We love your comments, and we will answer them live. This is a part of our show where we like to shout out some of our followers as well, because that's what we like to do. On Facebook, Gavin Allen Ross, thank you so much for following. Instagram, Jess Steele, surprise, surprise. TikTok, Jorge Puga. And on YouTube, Nina Sloan. Thank you all so much for following us. If you want to be shouted out on our show, it's easy. Just follow us. If you want to be a guest on our show, it's really easy as well. We love having as many guests from all walks of life, all over the world. And I know you got something to share because everyone does. We're dropping the link right now. Sign up. Be a guest, come say hi and share some knowledge with the world. And if any of you are out there struggling with maybe your spirituality, feeling a little lost, maybe socially you don't have as much of a friend circle as you wish, or maybe financially your bank account isn't as happy as it once was. If you have a topic you want us to go over, let us know. That link's being dropped right now. We'll find 3 awesome guests to give you 3 awesome tips to hopefully help you through the little speed bump you might have. And finally, if you like what we do, which hopefully you do, please don't forget to like, share, comment, send stars, subscribe, whatever it is, however you're watching. We much appreciate it. And as one final thing for us, I love giving back, and I do offer free growth consultations if you want to have a little one-on-one and pick my brain on any topic that I might know. We'll drop that link right now for you as well. And, that's right, we got merchandise now. Want to give a little shout out. We got awesome shirts, calendars, mugs, all that fun stuff. Would love to join the Millionaires Are Made merch family. And before we bring out our first guest, this episode is brought to you by some awesome people. We got Craig Sakowski, who is a human behaviorist and mentor who helps entrepreneurs discover their true identity, their purpose, and achieve growth, not just in business, but life as well. Craig is awesome. Will help you out a lot. Our next sponsor is Sarah Jones, who used to be married in debt, used to be in a hapless marriage, and now it travels the world with her husband, took time to go and relearn, and now she has a healthy financial foundation with her husband and a happy marriage. They travel the U.S. in a giant RV with all sorts of toys with them, and they teach others how to make money work for them. Next sponsor is Dana Record. Dana empowers people over 30 years old with essential end-of-life planning knowledge, helping families reduce stress and navigate loss with clarity, preparedness, and peace of mind. Go say hi to her. Roxandra is our final sponsor, who is a super passionate mom of 2 under 2, which is enough of a job of itself, but also podcast host, speaker, and founder of the Super Moms Magic Circle, who helps heart-led moms turn chaos into clarity. Go check her out and say hi. And with that being said, we're going to bring out our first guest. Woohoo! First guest is Sivani. Sivani, tell us, who are you?
Well, we can't really be on a spiritual show without me saying I am infinite potential that takes the form of a entrepreneur, a healer. I teach preventative health, yoga, meditation.
All right. Well, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Perfect. But I have an important question for you, Sivani. If I wanted to improve my spiritual health holistically, what tiny piece of advice would you recommend?
I feel like the most valuable thing that you could do is to learn to reconnect with your inner intelligence.
How do we do that?
Yeah, so one of the ways we could do that in like a physical, tangible way is to begin noticing anytime we have natural urges and we ignore those types of things, because that's one of those signs of the inner intelligence that is active in our body and that our culture or our lives often tell us to ignore. You know, like our inner intelligence is responsible for keeping our heart beating, the oxygen in our lungs, but the relationship can be developed much, much, much deeper. Yet we can use little tricks like something that we do every day. And often, when we're busy, when we're trying to accomplish things, when we're trying to become millionaires, we might suppress a lot of our natural urges, the things that our bodies need. And when we do that, then our bodies don't function as well. We won't be as clear, we won't be as successful, and we definitely won't feel connected on a spiritual level with our greater purpose, our meaning in life.
Can you give us an example of a natural urge that people often overlook?
Yeah, one of the biggest ones is I have to go pee. And, oh, but I'm not, I'm too busy. It's, I have just one more meeting or what have you. I really enjoyed that backstage with you because you reminded us multiple times, this is a great time, so that we're not in the midst of it. So I loved that you were just doing it very naturally, things like that. Like be aware of what is needed.
We've done a lot of shows, and bathroom breaks are before and after the show. We don't have bathroom breaks during the show. Okay, it's only 30 minutes. Awesome. Well, tell us, where on your life journey did you learn this advice?
Yeah, so I have spent probably the past 20 years developing in first yoga, and then obviously that helps you learn to self reflect, to look back, listen to your body, listen to your mind, all of those things. That led me to meditation. I spent 13 years as a monk, and I deeply studied
Can you
my
repeat
inner
that last
intelligence.
sentence?
Yeah, I spent 13 years living as a monk.
So we're just canceling the rest of the show. Tell us more about that. How did that happen? Where did that come?
Yeah, I was just really, really dissatisfied in my life. I had had some trauma in my early life and then kind of put on a plastic identity and all of those things. And then one day I just woke up and realized I need to reconnect with some things that I had been ignoring. I got very into money and I had a very successful husband, very successful life, and all of a sudden that just wasn't enough for me. I needed to know what my purpose was. So that's when I came across a meditation technique. They offered a 6 month training. I dropped out of the world. I went to that. Then later, I had to do it more. I wasn't done. So I just kept on at it for about 13 years. And then after that, that's when I decided it's time for me to really start bringing some essence of what I've learned out and watch other people's lives transform and maybe not have to drop out for 13 years.
So while you were a monk, did you live in the U.S.? Did you go to Tibet? What kind of monk and how did you live? Did you shave your head?
I did not shave my head, and it was here in the United States. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a meditation practice called the Art of Ascension. They had a retreat center, so I lived at the retreat center. I did not make money, everything was an exchange, and I just gave all of my energy and my efforts to keep that retreat center moving and the people coming in and out of that process feeling supported, grounded, and loved while they were going through their experience of unfoldment.
Were you married during this time?
Um, I actually left my first husband just because the two experiences weren't working. I did end up getting married towards the end of my time, and now I live in the world with my husband.
And so I guess, was he a monk as well?
He was, yeah.
Fantastic. Sivani, what a life story. Okay. Um, I mean, those are my questions. I guess we're gonna move on to our next guest, and we'll bring you out.
Excellent.
I mean, I have a feeling that our other guests are going to want to hear more about that experience as well. So, thank you so much, Sivani. Our next guest is Ramona. Ramona, tell us, who are you?
Hi, I am Ramona Crabtree Faulkner, and I am a 20-year holistic wellness facilitator that healed my life through all of the practices that I now teach. It has been a great joy to be of service and support to others and to watch people wake up.
That is actually a really nice service. So student first, now a teacher. Tell us this: if I wanted to improve my spiritual health holistically, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
You are not here to hustle through your life. You are here to live it with intention, presence, and purpose. So
Very nice. Tell us more
essentially,
what that means.
yeah,
Yeah, keep going.
essentially we especially in our culture, we're on the go all the time, and with all this technology we have, our brains are firing so fast. And so this idea of always being on the go is something that is rampant in what I see in my clients. And so learning to slow down, learning to be more intentional, learning to connect to that inner knowing that you have within yourself is how you're going to have a more authentic life experience, instead of one that is just kind of filled with difficulty.
Well, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Where on your life journey did you learn this advice?
Well, I had to have a couple medical events. Like I found myself having to have surgery, having my thyroid removed. I ended up in 2016 being told I was going to have rods put in my back, and I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. So I took all these tools that I had been learning and teaching in my business and started applying them to my life, and then suddenly my pain started to go away because I realized I was an energetic being, and what I did with my energy ultimately decided how my physical body was going to feel.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we're going to move on to our next guest, but hold that thought because I have a great feeling that's going to come up in our round robin as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ramona. I'm getting the sense this is going to be a long episode. Uh, awesome. All right. Next up, we got Jess. Jess, tell us,
Hello.
who are you?
Hi, guys. I'm Jess. I am a former high school principal turned leadership and energetic alignment coach. I am a published author. And basically, I am on a mission to transmute breakdown to breakthrough. And that is the journey I have been on by personal experience.
Fabulous. All right, Jess, I have a question for you. If I wanted to improve my spiritual health holistically, what
Mhm.
tiny piece of advice would you give me?
I would say that it is essential to get quiet enough to feel the truth of your own energy. So get quiet enough to feel the truth of your own energy. And like I think both ladies really have expressed thus far in our session, the outside noise is so chaotic, right? Like we live in a society where we are taught to do, do, do. And when we start to feel that chaos internally, we are no longer in alignment with our authenticity. So I think there's a lot of ways that we can get quiet to hear the truth of our own energy. And it can be as simple as saying, what percentage of this energy that I'm carrying is mine? What percentage of how I'm feeling is mine to actually feel?
Yeah, thank you, Tina. Jess, did you watch our last episode, and just steal everything from it?
Oh, did I? No, I don't think I did.
One of our last guests, Tina, was on the show, and she just commented. And so our last show was on intellectual health and intuition. And one of our daily challenges is to stop and turn your eyeballs inside and stare at you and calm down.
Yes.
So you are
Yes.
nailing that right on the head, Jess.
Tina, you and I are on the same page, sister.
Yeah, time for you guys. Tina, make sure you go follow her real quick. All right, Jess, where on your life
Yes.
journey did you learn this advice?
Kind of like Ramona shared with us, I was in breakdown mode, right? Like I was peeling myself off the bathroom floor and I loved my job. I was so passionate about the work I was doing. And so for me to be so depleted, so energetically void, and to feel just joyless was my wake up call. I knew that something was out of alignment internally. I went to a holistic wellness retreat, spent a lot of time in meditation. We were completely secluded from the outside world. And I really got back into alignment with my true life purpose and my authenticity through recognizing the spirit of my true energy and my essential nature.
All right. Whew, okay, we're gonna just bring everyone else out. We got a lot to unravel here. Yeah, Ramona and Sivani. I don't even know where to start. I don't know what we're doing here.
Well, I can start with, it sounds like we all have the same understanding here that alignment is so important, and where you are putting your energy ultimately creates your life experience.
Yeah, as within, so without, right? Like energy attracts like energy.
Like this group.
That must be why Tina.
Exactly. We were like destined to come together today.
That must be why Tina is watching this show. She just felt it. I love it. Okay, let's go. Let's go here. Oh, Ramona, what were you talking about when I said don't forget that?
Well, I was talking about energy alignment. So wherever you are putting your energy, like we are energetic beings, and learning to understand that, man, that's so powerful. That's why my work now is it's called empowerment coaching, because I want to empower my clients to know that they can do something about what it is that they're experiencing instead of staying stuck.
All right, let's go ahead. Let's get a little woo-woo here. Tell me more about energy. You said right. You healed yourself energy, right? You're an energy being. Tell us more about that, and then we'll have Jess and Sivani comment on that.
Yep. So energetically, if we look at ourselves, we're a physical body, we're a mental body, we're an emotional body, and we're a spiritual many bodies, right? We have all these layers of spirituality within those bodies. And the way I was raised was to just work with this physical body. Yeah, I went to church and I was taught things from the Bible, but it wasn't making sense to me. It wasn't until I was exposed to yoga, Reiki, sound healing, and all of a sudden, it was a language that I understood. I spent my whole childhood feeling dumb because I couldn't process things. And then all of a sudden, I'm introduced to energy, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm an empath, and I feel things, and I know things by the way I feel it in my body. And so I had to learn how to be aware of what I was surrounding myself with, the people, the activities, anything that was impacting me, because I was becoming a sponge. I had to learn how to become a conduit and only hold my energy and allow anything else to move through me.
All right, Jess, Sivani, what are your thoughts on that?
I'll dive into it because
I'm in absolute agreement. Yeah.
Well,
go ahead,
the part that really connects the dots for me is obviously that's a very similar story in I had my body kind of gave up on itself because I was going so far against what it needed to survive, to thrive, all of that kind of stuff. And what I loved about what you were saying, Ramona, is that we kind of need to reclaim that truth, that essence, realign with it. And then when I began studying Ayurveda, that's one of the things that I loved is how much it brings forward the feminine aspect of health and how that is what sets our mind free to have more spiritual experiences. So if somebody's listening and they're not really having those spiritual experiences and they only know themselves as body right now, but you want to, there's also the flip approach by including the discipline, because there were certain things, certain boundaries that you had to create so that you were no longer losing your energy, that's also a way to enhance or increase our spiritual experience.
So I'm going to expand upon that, but I'm going to make it a little less woo-woo because the educator in me is like, there might be some people that are like, okay, logically, how do I know if I'm out of alignment? Like, how do I know, what I need to be paying attention to? And I think there's a couple of things that we can really focus on. So when we start to feel like we are forcing, and this shows up for us in different ways, it can manifest as frustration, disappointment, anger, depending on our energetic types, who we are as energetic beings in our human design. that is when we know, okay, if I'm forcing something, if I'm getting agitated and frustrated, that may mean that I am out of alignment with my authenticity and I need to take a moment to check in with
Here's your
myself.
sign.
Some of us are going to feel that. Yes, exactly. And some of us are going to feel that in our guts. Some of us are going to feel that in our chest. Like we're going to experience it in different places. But when we learn to ask ourselves, what percentage of this energy is mine and what is true for me right now? The more frequently we start to ask ourselves those questions, the easier it is going to be to, one, recognize when we're out of alignment, and two, make a decision to bring ourselves back to our homes, right? Back to our vessels, whether that's our spiritual vessel, physical vessel, whatever that may be.
And that primary step that has to be developed in order to even get there, the very first thing you have to learn and cultivate is awareness. Without awareness,
yes. And I think we get that by being quiet, right? Shutting out the noise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that totally brings it back to like when you guys are talking about everything that's falling back, you're helping to also connect the dots of that inner intelligence. So doing something small, like, do I have to go to the bathroom? That's a great way to enhance awareness of what's going on inside, all of those keys, that communication that's going on. And again, that develops. Then you can ask questions like, what do I want to do? What is the purpose? What is the meaning of my life? Again, spiritual aspect of life, and you can hear it. It doesn't, it's not so stifled by comparison and competition and what everybody else is doing or what's okay to do, but really coming back to that alignment, like everybody keeps bringing up. So it's awesome to have.
And it's about reclaiming it, right? It's you have to choose to reclaim what is yours, what has always been meant to be yours, but that you were trained to do it in a way that someone else thought was best for you. And our authenticity knows what's best for us. And it's just this opportunity that we have to reclaim our authentic life experience.
Well, and I think that there's this preconceived notion that this level of embodiment is something else to do. Mm-hmm. Like it's one more thing. Like now I have to meditate. Now I have to go to yoga. Now I have to audio journal, whatever it is. And I don't think it's another task. Embodiment is not something else to add to a to-do list. It is a way of being. Mm-hmm. It is shedding the layers that no longer serve us so that we can exist in our vessels again, so that we can be back in tune with who we came here to be. That's when we rediscover our purpose. It's not out there.
And we're meant to be living in joy. We're not meant to be living in suffering. Yes. So how do you move from suffering to joy? Return home.
Yes. Be present.
And I love what you said, Jess, because the main thing that's important here is that there's not an external form. So just because some of us have done yoga, we've done meditation, that doesn't mean that that's what's right for the individual. What's most important is, again, like when you're exploring the various different options that are out there, what resonates with you? What is saying yes on the inside of you? Then follow that breadcrumb trail and see where it leads you, but don't get stuck anywhere, right? Don't follow a guru. Don't, give yourself away to anybody when you're exploring these spiritual dimensions of yourself. It's meant for you to become more at home in your own body.
And I love we already have the answers. We've just been trained to look outside of ourselves to find them. Google this. What does ChatGPT say? Sign up for this program, read this book. Those are all great ways to obtain information. But at the end of the day, like, we inherently know what is meant for us. We just have to get still enough to discover it.
And that's why I love the analogy of walking alongside of someone with holding a lantern and walking beside them, because I think that that's what the work, at least the work that I do, is about, is just, I'm walking with you. I'm walking with you. And we're
all walking each other home.
Exactly.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, that was fun.
Obviously, we can talk all day. So you're gonna have to rank.
Those are the beautiful moments sometimes when the whole audience and me just gonna sit and watch you guys go at it. That was great. Um, and you guys were all worried about
In
conflict.
a very loving way.
Jess was ready to drop bows earlier. Man. All right, guys. Cool. Okay, so spiritual health holistically, right? We're talking about improving our spiritual health. Talked a lot about looking within. So let's why not talk about Sivani being a monk?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
I would love to talk about this. Sivani, take it over.
Well, what do you guys want to know?
So I think I want to know, what was that experience like for you? Like being a person of the world, right? Like you were living in materialism, living in the US that's very materialistic, that's driven by this material definition of success. So, how did you come to make that decision? And what do you think the greatest impact of that was on your life as you are now reacquainted with the material world? Does that
Yeah,
make
that's such a great
sense?
question because I think that that was kind of the essence of what needed to take place. And a simple answer was a lot of the material aspect um, kind of happened on accident. I had met my husband. We were kind of young, wild, rebellious individuals. I don't even think he had a driver's license because he had gotten into some trouble when we first met. You know, we were just having fun. And then, oops, we had a baby. And so our background was that we should get married, we should do these things. And what was interesting is that I have clear memories of how that taking on that role of parenthood actually changed us both in dramatic ways. I didn't like who I became, and I didn't like who he became either. And his big thing was he needed to provide for us, but then that need to provide for us kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it drew him further and further away. And we didn't have the emotional support or even the time with him anymore. So here I am having now multiple small children and not really a husband at all. I have money, but I was lonely and also feeling unseen and unheard. And so when the meditation practice came into my life, it unlocked a lot of the, like I said, it had kind of become plastic. My life had become very plastic. So it unlocked a lot of that. And it was very easy for me to walk away. I walked away from everything. I didn't ask for anything in the divorce. He wanted to control me with my children, so I gave him custody of our children, and knew that I would find a way to reestablish that connection with my kids and make sure that our love continued beyond this experience, which is a whole nother story. We won't go there. But being in the retreat and just giving myself to the spiritual experience and really developing that place of stability inside of myself is the place where I feel that I can truly step out and offer services that do have money exchange, but see it more as energy exchange instead of, like control or domination or some of the other things. And I integrate that into every aspect of my offerings, is to make sure that those are seen as valuable, that they're giving and they're giving back to the individuals that are coming to me. So essentially, if I had a client coming to me, my goal is to help get them to a place where they don't need me anymore. Mm-hmm. And then from that place, we can walk alongside of each other, like what Ramona was talking about. But the way for me to do that is to do that with them while they're working with me, but then help them to graduate into those higher levels of their own expertise, their own inner knowing of their unfolding and their truths.
Sivani, this reminds me of something I said to someone the other day, that the life that I'm creating and who I am becoming is at the expense of everything I've ever been. And I feel like that kind of encapsulates like the journey that you are on. Like, I'm going to leave it all behind. I'm going to blow it all up because this doesn't serve me. And it doesn't matter who doesn't understand, because you knew that that was in right alignment with your true authentic self and what you needed at that time.
Yeah,
Hands
when you
down.
lift
And
those veils.
you brought up a spiritual concept, which is build a house, tear it down. We become so attached to the various different identities that we create for ourselves, and then they dominate us. They control us. When they don't fit anymore, we're so attached to them, we can't just shed it like a snake would shed its skin
Tricky little
and
bastard.
grow bigger. you know
Well, and as I was saying a moment ago, it's those veils lifting. When all of a sudden the things that we were believing to be true no longer were holding value. That's because we've done the work. We've done enough of the work to go, oh wow, that veil got thinner and now I can see. And so the clearer that our vision becomes of our authentic truths, the easier it is for us to let go.
Yeah.
It's such an awesome kind of concept because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like ever since I did boldly step onto this journey of myself and then learn to settle into the reality that I won't ever be there. I won't ever get there. I won't ever be the totality, that what I've tapped into is endless, infinite potential that I will always transforming and grow. For me, that's something that's set me
You're
free.
always becoming.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always in the act of becoming. It's no longer about the destination. It truly becomes about the
Absolutely,
journey.
which is exactly why
I actually no longer care what the destination is.
But my company name is Authentic Life Journey, specifically for what we're talking about here, is that it's not, there's no destination. I'm not running a race. I'm going to step one day at a time and take the hills and the valleys and the bumps and the bruises and trust that all of it is designing perfectly for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes we have to remind ourselves that, but then we walk into those experiences where it is clearly obvious that every little thing is what made me who I am today, and it's what helped me accomplish the things that I'm accomplishing and will continue to be unfolding in another, beautiful way that I can't even begin to fathom. It's like reading a book. You're on one page of the book, but there's still lots more to go, regardless of whether we're getting to the crescendo. It's just going to be the next part of the book series, and there will be a whole new crescendo and a whole new, resolution, and then the next experience. So,
yep, I love it.
And you're here to have a human experience, right? Like that's why we are here. It's not that you go on this spiritual journey to eradicate emotion and feeling and like living in the world. Like that is our job, but our job is also to recognize that we can transcend that too, right? Like there's this interesting caveat that happens, right? So I think it's all about surrender, trust, faith, and being willing to let it be messy, right? Let it feel a little, like off sometimes. Like it's okay. Sometimes we're going to have to sleep it off. Sometimes we have to honor the pause. Sometimes we need a drink of water. You know what I mean? But I think, yeah, it's just about getting in tune with who we are at our core essence and learning how to be in the world in that way. And it's a really beautiful, messy, kind of nasty thing at times. But I think there's no greater experience. There's no greater privilege.
Yeah, I had a coach early on when I was on my healing journey in the beginning, where she said it's 49-51, 49% ego driven, 51% spirit. So as long as we're staying in that 51 being spirit guiding you, then it's okay that the ego is necessary. It keeps us safe and helps us move forward. It's when it tries to take over and tells us everything is of danger that we start becoming small. So we want to stay in that place of awareness so that we can continue to go, okay, what is this opportunity gifting me to grow more?
I love that. I've never heard that breakdown before. So that's really intriguing.
it's cool. What I hear both of you guys talking about is bringing back the slow down, which is what you were talking about, Ramona, when you began, or when you gave us your little tidbits of you and what you're doing. And that has been one of the biggest impacts in my life as well, is learning how to do that. Like okay, well, here I am again. And I'm, like energized. I love to do it. And that was the thing that was interesting. It was easy to slow down when I was dissatisfied, but it became harder to slow down when I was extremely passionate and excited. And then getting to watch the
Yes.
same thing that my body would ask for the same thing. Like, nope,
Mhm.
now we need a rest. You're not listening. So, like following that brilliance that our bodies and our emotions and all of that's what helps us begin to find that perfect balance. And the more that we,
Mhm.
explore it, wiggle it, play with it, then we can find our sweet spot, like a dial on a radio, and no longer need
Yeah.
the extremes of, highs and lows.
It's all just
Yeah.
information,
And release the
right? Like
attachment.
it's all
Yeah.
just
Release the
information.
attachment to not having it. It needs to be there. It's part of it. It's the yin and yang of it all. We have a dot of both in the other. We have to have it.
Yeah.
So this has been great.
All right, we got a little pause. We're going to move on to our daily challenge. So, together, we must come up with a task or series of tasks that must take less than 5 minutes per day, cost $0, and be available to anyone in the world from Spain to Fiji. What ideas do you guys have to help improve our spiritual health holistically?
I mean, it sounds like slowing down has been a central messenger here today. So I would say stand with a tree.
Stand
Go
next to a
stand with,
tree.
yep, go stand with the tree.
Okay.
He's looking for him.
I live in the woods, so that's great. Like I am like surrounded by trees, so I can do that all
That
day.
is something I have my clients with anxiety do. I have them go stand outside and look at the tree and start connecting to the vibration, the frequency of that tree, and then it just helps bring yourself into the moment.
Stand next to a tree, but touch the tree?
Well, you can touch the tree. You can just look at the tree as the wind's moving through the leaves and branches. You can sit down next to it, put your body against it. Just bring yourself into the present moment, and that can be done in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Well, and I think it's as simple as maybe just going back to some of those questions like, what's true for me right now? What am I feeling in my body right now? And that's something that you can ask at any moment in the day, right? Before or after a big decision, right? Like as a situation is evolving, what's true for me at lunch? What's true for me on my commute home? What's true for me after a good night's rest? What's true for me after I've fueled my vessel, right? After I've moved my body, like just getting into the habit of saying, what's true for me right now? What's true in my body? And what do I need?
All right. I think that's because yeah. So stand next to a tree, ask yourself what's true for you, and spend 5 minutes, I guess, answering that question. Then, yeah.
Yeah.
All
All
right,
right. Well,
that's our
awesome.
daily challenge. Fantastic. Any last words before we wrap up?
No, this was wonderful. I had ladies and Austin. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for allowing us to be here and just share this dialogue. It's been really affirming.
Yeah, this is really great. I always love being in community with like-minded people, and it's an inspiration to share in these moments.
Well, and just a little, tidbit, we all talked before we got going that we're all going to connect. So if you're out there, you're listening and you enjoyed it, please reach out to us. All of our socials have been shared. So we'd love to invite you into our little realm of connection as well.
Yeah, definitely. All their links are dropped, so you can just scroll when they get appeared and drop their link, follow them on Insta, Facebook, go reach out. And thank you guys so much for coming on the show. It was a great one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Who's ready to stand next to trees for the next week?
Whoop, whoop.
And as usual, thank you all so much for watching. It's so funny. Oh, what a great one. I love those episodes where everyone just sits and watches and just lets the guests talk. Super insightful, super great time. Thank you all for coming out. And remember, daily challenge this week is going to be stand next to a tree and ask the question, what is true for me right now? So we'll be posting videos